why did Biden announce this when he did? So like, let's go down the lane of he's known. They've been dealing with it probably for years, according to Dr. Samadi. And literally almost every doctor who's weighing in on this, oncologists and prostate doctors. Zeke Emanuel is no right-wing doctor trying to run cover for Biden. He's saying he's had it for 10 years. He's like, trust me, he's had it for 10 years. So let's go down the lane of they knew. Why release it now? Why release it last night on a Sunday in the midst of, well, Saturday's report releasing the Her audio and 2 days before the Tapper Thompson book comes out? Because there's a lot of possibilities. You know, the couple would be to make them look stupid. Tapper and Thompson. You didn't get it. You think you got your big scoop? You didn't even find out I had cancer. We've been hiding it for 5 years or whatever, right? That's a possibility. Another is, forgive me, but it's like the Alex Murdaugh theory. That guy down in South Carolina, that lunatic prosecutor who his son had a boat accident and he was stealing from his firm and the shit was going to hit the fan. And instead of just like owning up to, I've been stealing and embezzling from my company, the prosecution theory was he shot his kid and his wife to death to engender sympathy, to totally change the narrative around him, to engender sympathy. And this obviously is not that same thing, but I'm just saying, is this a move to like engender sympathy and get us talking about poor Joe Biden, I'm so sad, as opposed to I'm so mad at what he did? Anyway, your theory on why now?
You know, every time I hear Brian Stelter, I always think that the Beatles would have been thrilled to have fans as hysterical as he is when any journalists are involved. He loves the press so much, and every time the press gets worse, Stelter loves them more. It's revolting. So what he's doing there, of course, is trying to inoculate the press against any criticism, which is what he exists to do. I mean, if they knew, then the most likely cynical explanation for the timing is going to be sympathy. It's going to be to make people who are talking about this look mean. We are going to, whether it was intentional or not, see a great deal of that over the next week. Anyone who says, as I have, that it would be ridiculous to stop talking about the issue of Joe Biden's many health problems that were covered up purely because we have learned about another health problem we didn't know about is going to be told that we are partisan or that we lack human emotional dignity or sensitivity and so on. And of course, that isn't true, but it will be effective with some people, and so it will be tried. That, I think, is also what David Axelrod was doing. Now, whether or not that is deliberate on the part of Joe Biden, I don't know. I suspect that what explains the timing as much as anything else is that the cancer is really bad. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible report. It is a horrible piece of news. And if you read between the lines of the press release, it doesn't say that the treatment will be effective. It says that they are going to try. It's pretty grave. And I suspect that you would want to get ahead of that if you would a diagnosis about you.
Yeah, just so that people understand it, the statement reads, last week, President Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Correct. There's no like sunny.
That's the word, though. Management.
Yeah.
And that's because management also means, for example, hospice care. I'm not saying that's what is going to happen, but it covers
it can mean a lot.
Almost every possible eventuality. And so it did occur to me that maybe this is why they announced it, is because before too long, it will leak or it will become obvious that something serious is wrong.
That's not impossible, Rich, but I'm much more of a cynical mofo than Charlie. I don't know how did I wind up more cynical than the guy who was raised in Great Britain. Anyway, It's too coincidental. Like, there's been a barrage of these books, but this one's getting tons and tons of attention because Tapper's associated with it, and that generates a whole different level of controversy and attention. And it's hitting tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be, as of midnight tonight, it'll be out there for everybody. And I'm telling you, like, having read it now, I disagree with the people who are saying there's no news in it. There is a lot of news, and hopefully we'll be going through those line items tomorrow. I actually just texted him asking if he could stay longer because there's so much that I want to discuss about what's in there. So that's about to hit. And the Biden team, almost certainly they've seen it. And it comes on the heels of the release of the Her tapes, which we're about to discuss, which are terrible. There's no way that's a coincidence.
Yeah, if we don't know what happened here, but if you're a damage control specialist and the Biden family comes to you, how can we step on this book? What would you recommend, right? If you had this diagnosis in your back pocket, so to speak, I don't want to be seem crass about it, but you'd release it on Sunday, right? To step on a Tuesday release. that would be the exact ideal timing to try to create a counter narrative. So again, can't say with certainty that's what happened, but if it did, that's exactly how you'd play it, which is going to naturally build more.
A quick follow-up on it, Rich.
Yeah.
Everybody sitting here right now, the three of us and the audience too, frankly, knows Joe Biden is, forgive me, I'm picking between different words that begin with D. He's a jerk. He's petty. He's vindictive. He's nasty. And I don't put it past him for 1 second to try to hurt these guys. Like, F you. It's like there's a personal satisfaction in trying to undermine them or make them look stupid. Back to theory number one, which is he basically just trying to show, like, they don't have shit. Like, they don't know anything. They didn't even get the fact that I have damn cancer and I'm heading off to, stage 4 metastasis land. I just feel like you can't underestimate this man's bad character.
Yeah. So I would think it'd be more a sympathy play, but to the point of character, that's behind all of this, right? And in Biden's defense, a lot of times high-level politicians, they just lie about their health. They do. Wilson did it. FDR and people around FDR did it. JFK did it. Paul Tsongas, who is a Democratic senator from Massachusetts who had a pretty good run in the 1992 primaries against Bill Clinton. Some people thought he'd win at some point. Lied about his cancer. He had a recurrence right before the New York primary. It was diagnosed and he was dead 3 years later. They just lie. So I think Biden easily fell into that. And it was very hard for him also to let go of this presidency that he's grasped for his entire life. So if you just think of recent presidents, I don't think either the Bushes, whatever else you think of them, would have lied about their health or not made the decision if they really would have had the self-awareness to realize if they were in Biden's state, I got to go for the good of my party and my country. Jimmy Carter wouldn't have lied about this. But Joe Biden, yes, he would. And I don't put anything past him. And look, he suffered terrible things in his life. We all should acknowledge that, should admire his perseverance. But he was made into a saint just because he was running against Donald Trump, and he was never that. And one reason I was very bullish on Trump's chances in 2024 before the polling really showed it is I just had a deep sense that no matter what, Joe Biden was going to F it up because he's an F up. Now, he won in 2020. Hats off to him for that. But I just knew in my bones he was going to F it up, and he did it royally.
It's interesting to me that it wasn't like a tidal wave of Democrats coming out in the Sunday shows, Charles, and saying, I feel lied to. But that is one of the themes of that's one of the more absurd themes of the Tapper Thompson book, which is like these Democrats and White House aides like, shocked. I'm so upset. I feel lied to. Like, oh my God. Okay, sure, Jan. But you're also getting some who are being a little bit more critical on camera. And I'll just give you one example. Chris Murphy of Connecticut was on Meet the Press yesterday with this message, SOT 16.
Obviously, in retrospect, the president should have gotten out of the race earlier. There's no doubt that the Democratic Party would have been better served by having the ability to have an open primary. Kamala Harris probably would have done very well in that process. But in retrospect, we lost. And so I don't think you can defend the way in which our politics played out. I mean, listen, what I've said is that, like anybody who reaches that stage in their life, there is some level of diminishment. But I got to work with the president pretty closely in 2022 and 2023, and I saw a president who was passing legislation and helping the American people at a pretty unprecedented rate. That being said, by 2024, the American people had decided that they wanted somebody new. They wanted somebody younger, and it was a mistake. It was a mistake for Democrats to not listen to the voters earlier.
It's a softening. You have to listen for it because they're all so slimy. But it's a softening on
going a little further. Yeah.
Well, it's a softening that nevertheless manages to stay perfectly within his frame of reference, which is what's good for the Democratic Party. He is saying there, once again, that the Democrats suffered from Biden not stepping out of the race, which is why he pretended Biden was fine 2 years ago, because he didn't want to hurt the Democrats. All that has changed there is his self-serving calculation. And I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I don't believe any of the other Democrats who are close enough to Biden to know. I don't believe the vast majority of journalists who operate in Washington, D.C., including your guest tomorrow, Jake Tapper. I think that they're full of it. I live on a beach in Florida. I know almost nobody in Washington, D.C. I know nobody in the Biden family. Shockingly, I was never invited to his White House or anywhere near it. And I could see as early as 2022 what was going on with my own eyes. There's another person in America who got this right. It was, a supermajority of the population who managed to look and see from afar, whether it be on television screens or on YouTube or what you will, and could detect that Joe Biden was not only sick in some way and unable to do the job, but was going to die soon. That is not hyperbole. That is literally what the polls showed, that a majority of Americans thought that if Joe Biden was reelected to a second term, he would die during it. Now, they didn't have sources to lie to them. They didn't have friends who covered it up or used euphemisms when they should have been plain spoken. They understood it because they're human beings and they have above average intelligence. So I just do not believe it. If I could see it, if people who have nothing whatsoever to do with politics could see it, then so could those who are heavily involved. But they didn't do that, Megyn. They didn't see it and announce it. What they did was attack the people who saw it, accuse them of falling for cheap fakes, say that it was insulting to the elderly and might cost them with older voters during the election, and be ruthlessly dishonest to the point at which we are now sitting on your show discussing, I think absolutely reasonably, whether or not Joe Biden covered up a cancer diagnosis. So no, I don't believe Chris Murphy.
This July, speaking of resets, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio. This bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of dollars in your savings. While this transition will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.